Hello, this is Manesh Patel from Infinity Group. Today is June 4th, 2011. This is our weekly Ichimoku analysis for the currency market. Before we begin, this is our normal disclaimer. All charts are either in Thinkorswim or TradeStation. Here are my contact details if you have any questions. Okay, so let's go and start going for all the major currency pairs and start evaluating them. Remember, on the left hand side is the weekly time frame. On the right hand side is basically the daily time frame. Okay, if you look at the Euro USD, before last week we were basically in a major bullish trend. We did a minor pullback, and now we're resuming that trend, believe it or not, because we broke through with minor resistance level 1.4454. So that's what we're still trending as far as the euro is concerned on the weekly time frame. If you look at the daily time frame, little different picture right there. And the reason why is there's conflict with all the Ichimoku indicators, especially since this move went up drastically last week, so it didn't have time for the indicators to equalize. However, this is now starting to tilt a little more to the bullish side. It really needs a pullback. If it could pull back to about 44.54, that would be great, and then start moving up, it'll be perfect. This week is very critical for the Euro USD, where by the end of this week, it's really got to close right around now at this price or above that. If it does, then it's going to basically set up the daily to be bullish, and then it has a high possibility of retesting the high. If it closes below that, and especially gets down into about 4,200 level, then you're going to start a bearish trend as far as the daily is concerned, and you'll definitely start entering a major pullback on the weekly. But it's got to break basically 39.06 to be a major pullback as far as the weekly is concerned. Pound USD, same thing, bullish trending as far as the weekly is concerned. The daily looks a little more nasty there. Again, your pound USD has the next 5 days to sit there and break above about 65.50. If it does, it's going to start a bullish trend as far as the daily is concerned, which should be a continuation for the pound on the weekly. Australian USD, you could see it's bullish trending as far as the weekly is concerned. On the daily time frame, it's basically consolidating here. This week's pretty critical for the Australian USD too. Seems like this week is very critical for US denominated currencies right now, as you could tell. If it starts breaking above 800, then we could possibly start a bullish trend on the daily, which would be a trend continuation as far as the weekly is concerned. New Zealand USD, bullish trending on both daily and weekly. As you could see, minor pullback here on the daily, but it's still very, very, very strong. New Zealand USD is actually critical for the next 2 days. It's really got to take off and start breaking this pivot here. If it does, then it's going to start going up higher. If not, if it doesn't in the next 2 days, then this thing's got a potential of going down and breaking below 8,000 level. US CAD. US CAD, you could see on the weekly time frame, is bearish trending. It got to its resistance level, major resistance level of 98.26, held and bounced off that guy, and you could see that from the daily time frame here too. However, it's still very strong as far as the daily is concerned, being bullish. So you may have a upward movement and finally a breakout on the weekly, which then this thing can go back to par of 1. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens this week. US Switzy, nothing to be said here. Still bearish trending on both daily and weekly. This thing's continuing to move down over and over and over. So it's very interesting how Switzy's getting stronger compared to the dollar. US Yen, you could see here, you still have some conflicts of, as you can see from the daily weekly time frame. However, this thing's now starting to tilt more and more to the bearish side. So a little movement pushed downwards. This thing's going to start trending on the bearish, on the weekly time frame, and start a bearish trend. You could see that also on the daily time frame here. You can see this big nice curve coming around. If this thing really breaks below 79.51, watch out, because we do have a possibility of getting all the way down to 76 as a going downwards. So it could be interesting to see if we do that's happen. Okay, let's go look at Euro, Pound, if I could spell. Euro Pound, bullish trending, starting to trend again on the weekly time frame. However, it's still here at the top, so it's not trending yet, but it does have all this momentum to sit there and start trending. If you look at the daily time frame, this thing really needs to pull back to about 88.25 and then start going higher. If it does, it's going to start moving up. This next 4 days are going to be critical for the Euro USD to take off. If it doesn't, then the bears are going to probably take over this thing. So got to be very careful and watch out for the next 4 days for the Euro Pound. This is one that we looked at earlier. Australian Switzy. This is now, if you look here, moved down. Not quite starting a bearish trend as far as the weekly is concerned. Needs to equalize a little, but this definitely looks like it's about to start a bearish trend on the weekly time frame. You can see here on the daily, it's a little overextended. If it pulls back up a little and then starts going down, this is going to definitely retest the lows here and then maybe start breaking through that too. So this is definitely another one to watch moving forward this week. That's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next week.